Knoxville is buzzing right now because you got a little quarterback battle going on. Joey Aguilar in from App State by way of UCLA, by way of the portal. When Nico left, you just kind of assumed, if you're a Tennessee fan, if you're a college football fan, you just assumed he would be the guy and get the job. Jake Merklinger, little Lee Corso action, not so fast, my friend. He's actually been in the system the longest. Is he going to find a way to win this job? George McIntyre, I think if he were on campus longer, maybe a little bit more physically developed, you'd feel better about him, but he makes good decisions. Does he separate? That's the big thing with the quarterback battle right now that we're hearing. They all look good in drills. They all look good throwing the ball around the yard. None of them, keyword, none of them were blurred out throwing an interception on Tennessee's social media pages. But with that being said, you got a scrimmage this upcoming Saturday, and this is a time where guys really start to separate. Okay, that's what they're waiting to see, from what I have been told from folks close to Tennessee's football program. Joey Aguilar, when he got to Knoxville, the thing that I was told is the best move he made was just like kept his head down, kept quiet, didn't do a bunch of PR, didn't do a bunch of interviews and stories, like just kept his head down, did his own mini install series of what spring practice was. How much does he take the job this upcoming weekend and throughout the rest of fall? Can't remains to be seen, but that's really what it's going to be about here for this quarterback battle. It's not going to be handed to Joey Aguilar. It's not a thing where, well, we're paying him the most, so Joey Aguilar is going to be our guy. No, like, you are going to have to legitimately win this job if you're going to start at quarterback for Tennessee. And some of that, I think, is Josh Heupel just being a smart individual. Some of that is Josh Heupel being in tune with his locker room and being a quarterback in his own playing career. But that's how you lose a locker room, man, is if you just hand the job to a guy that hasn't actually won it based on merit. Because here's the deal. Everyone in that locker room by the end of fall camp will know who the starting quarterback is going to be. Whether it's announced or not, you will know who gives you the best chance to go win football games. So if you pick a guy that's not that guy because you're paying him more or because you think it's what you're supposed to do, then the locker room at that point in time is like, what are we doing here? We're not serious about winning football games? What's going on? So Josh Heupel, more power to him, more credit to him. They will have a true derby, and they will have a true competition when it comes to who's going to win that job. Still, to me, feels like it's going to be Joey Aguilar because of his experience and because of all the things he brings for you physically with the playmaking ability and his legs. But with that being said, the plot thickens. Stay dialed in over at VolQuest for all the intel on the scrimmages coming up. But that's obviously a big point in this whole quarterback derby. Young wide receivers. Got good news and bad news. Bad news is the receiver room at Tennessee has been a little bit dinged up continuing into fall camp, which you don't love. The good news is there's a lot of reps to go around now on some young wide receivers that are going to have to play for you week one. I was told Rodarius Jackson, freshman receiver, will have to play week one. Travis Smith will have to play week one. And not just play like sparingly and get spots. Like, they legitimately will have a role when you go out there and play against Syracuse that first game of the season. So you hope those guys can elevate quickly, because I think that's one of the big pieces for Tennessee. If you want to get back to being what you were in 2022, you got to go win a one-on-one. We say it all the time on this show, but the way that Josh Heupel dials it up, you're going to get some wide splits, get some one-on-one matchups to where if your receiver wins that one-on-one matchup, your quarterback gives him a good ball, you're going to score a lot of points. That's why Jalen Hyatt won the Blitnikoff in 2022, because he was freaky fast, won one-on-one against a safety. I think he just did it again against Alabama right now, and that's how he made his money, and that's how he got to go put up ridiculous numbers for Tennessee that year. That's why the offense was so good. Is that this young group of guys? Is that going to be Tennessee takes a second to get back healthy and then you see it later in the year? I don't know, but the bottom line, young dudes will have to play for Tennessee on the perimeter starting week one. Now, they love their tight end group. Miles Kisselman was the player that was blurred out during that Blurgate situation that happened in Tennessee over the course of the first few fall camp practices. They think he's phenomenal. They think that they have a deep room as well. They think they could end up playing some more 12 personnel. That means having one back and two tight ends on the field at a time. If that's the case, more power to Tennessee. I think Josh Heupel has proven now he is a evolved enough play caller and head football coach to where if we got to win scoring in the 20s, we'll do it. If we can score in the 30s and 40s, like, we'd much rather do that. But if we got to win in the 20s and we got to run the football and line up with two tight ends, we're just fine doing that. They think they have the personnel to do that. Now, speaking of running the football, some offensive linemen to keep tabs on, kind of transforming their bodies. David Sanders, true freshman, got there in the spring, all 5-star, all everything, added, wait for it, 38 pounds. You don't add 38 pounds unless you think you're going to play right away. What I was told is that they're going to have him start here pretty early on. Zalance Hurd played last year for Tennessee on the offensive line, transferred in from LSU, was a big portal get. There were times where if you really watched him play a season ago, you felt like maybe he was a step behind. He's down almost 25 pounds. I have to believe that's in an effort to be more available and more effective in the tempo that Tennessee wants to run with. Now, don't be surprised, too, speaking to this whole approach of what Tennessee could be offensively, if they lean on their defense a little bit like they did a season ago. It could be gritty over pretty, man. It doesn't matter what it looks like as long as you get that W in the win column. But the defense, they think, is not going to take this massive step backwards. They think they're legitimately still 12 to 14 deep on the defensive line. They just want to wear you out. A lot of names there that you could keep a pulse on. You lost 2 draft picks, but at the end of the day, the thought is they are still really deep up front, and they really feel good about the job that Tim Banks has done since he's gotten there. Also, give Josh Heupel a lot of credit for the way they've built that roster and hit on some big evaluations and just got the guys they need on the defensive side of the football. Like, we talk about Josh Heupel as a play caller, as an offensive mastermind, and all those things, and that's fair. It's definitely fair to do. But Tennessee's had more defensive players drafted on the Josh Heupel than the offensive side. Strange but true. Strange but true. Give him a lot of credit. One guy to keep a pulse on the back end for Tennessee, the player who made that interception during Blurgate, transfer from Colorado, cornerback Colton Hood. He's going to start at corner while Jermod McCoy is getting back healthy. But the big thing for Tennessee is if they can play man coverage on the outside and just allow that linebacking core and that front seven and the defensive line to just go eat and kind of stack the box, that's going to make them a problem in the SEC once again. Now, if the offense can take advantage of those situations, then we got a whole different conversation around what Tennessee's going to be here in 2025. But defensively, Colton Hood being able to play man coverage and hold it down while Jermod McCoy is away is going to be huge. Now, Boo Carter, got to talk about him because there was some off-field drama. He's out in California or he's away from the team, and it's just a weird vibe. Everything I've heard from folks out of Knoxville is that he is doing what he's supposed to do. Now, the thing with him is he's got to do it every day. If he does it every day, he shows up and does the right things and is on time and all those other details that come with playing college football at a high level, he will start at nickel for you, and he'll also get some snaps on the offensive side. So, for me, the way that I'm looking at this for Tennessee, if they have a true guy at quarterback that emerges from that battle, there's a lot of other pieces of this roster that can and should get you excited, especially on the defensive side. Now, if the receivers can elevate too, what I just said, we're talking about what they were in 2022 and comparing this offense to that. Now, that's a lofty comparison. There's a lot that still has to happen for them to get back to that level, but that's the hope within this team is can we be more explosive? Because they're going to run the football, right? I mean, Josh Heupel, I believe it's every year he's been there, they've been north of 2,000 yards rushing. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Some of that is scheme, some of that is mentality, some of that's what you've had personnel-wise and making it work, but like the bottom line is Josh Heupel will run the football. Okay? Make that very, very clear. If the defense measures up, Tennessee's going to be a tough out. Very, very tough out. So I know we're talking about can they be a playoff team again and them taking a step back and all those things. I'm just saying now that the intel out of fall camp, you get the quarterback right, we'll see.